Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I've posted. I've had one of the best reading months that I've had in a long time, and I didn't want to wait until the end of October to post this video because I didn't want my list of books to get too big. So I may film another little wrap up when October is actually over, but for now, this is what I've read so far, so let's get started. So the first book I finished at the beginning of October was Hope Like Wildflowers by Pepper Basham, and this is the third book in the Blue Ridge Mountains romance series. And I'm not going to read the synopsis or give too many details about what the book is about because it could give away some spoilers for the first two books. So I highly recommend you read the first two before you read the third one. The first is Laurel's Dream, and then the second is The Heart of the Mountains. And I gave all three of these books 5 stars, so I highly recommend them. The series was so good though. I think I might end up doing a full video just dedicated to this series. Let me know in the comments if that's something you would like to see, or if you have also read these and really enjoyed them. They'll definitely be some of my favorites for this whole year. But the faith content in this book was amazing. Pepper has a gift for being able to write Christian fiction and have it feel so natural to the characters. You just feel like they're really living out their faith, and like it just seems so real. The main character in this book struggled with some very hard, very real things, and you just saw her go from someone who wasn't walking with the Lord at the beginning of the book, and then she finds him, and it totally changes everything about her. Not everything changes right away, but she's obviously impacted, and you get to see her grow in her faith, and it's just really cool, and I felt encouraged by this book. Some of the common faith threads were love, redemption, forgiveness, and in this one in particular, hope. I did write down a quote that I want to read from this one because it was so good, and it just gives you kind of a little snippet of the type of faith content that's in these books. Where is it? Okay. It says, "Always remember how valuable your soul is. It's so important that the devil tries to steal it, and God sent his son to die for it. You are precious to him." And yeah, like I said, that's just a glimpse into the writing style for all of these books. So set in the Blue Ridge Mountains in the early 1900s, I believe, right? Yes, early 1900s. So I just kind of categorized some things here, some common questions. Did this book keep my interest? Yes, it highly kept my interest. Who would I recommend this to? I would recommend this to anyone who enjoys Christian fiction and romances. I said the timeline is kind of early 1900s in the Blue Ridge Mountains, so historical fiction lovers. The series does have some heavier content in it, so if you're a parent and maybe wondering if it would be a good fit for your daughter to read, I'd maybe recommend checking into them, reading them yourself before you make that decision. Just wanted to throw that out there. And then my rating was 5+ stars for the whole entire series. Next up is Can't Help Falling by Courtney Walsh, and this is book 3 in the Sweater Weather series, and this is not Christian fiction. It's the only one that isn't, but Courtney has written Christian fiction in the past, and this book is clean. There's no language and only kissing, so I felt like I would include it just because it is clean. But these books you don't have to read in order, at least I don't think you do. Anyway, the synopsis is pretty long, so I'll just give you kind of a brief summary. The two main characters are Owen and Emmy. And they grew up being kind of secret friends. Emmy was best friends with Owen's sister, and her sister never knew that her and Owen were friends. Owen was pretty popular and kind of had like a bad boy image, and Emmy was quiet, reserved, fly under the radar type, and so they just had a secret friendship. But as they grew up, Owen ended up getting married. Well, he didn't get married. He got to the altar with someone else, and the girl he was going to marry, left him at the altar. And later that day, Emmy confesses her love to Owen, and that scares him, and he gets out of town. Eventually, he ends up coming back to their small town, and he becomes a firefighter. Emmy doesn't know he's back in town, and her house is on fire, and Owen comes in and saves her, literally carries her out of the house. And she has all these feelings come back for him, and yeah, things go on from there. It's a really cute story. Emmy is quirky and hilarious. I had so many laugh out loud moments in this book. So yeah, did this book keep my interest? Yes, it absolutely did. Who would I recommend this to? Rom-com lovers, perfect for fall, but it could be read at any time, and I gave this one 5 stars. Then I read The Highland Heist by Pepper Basham, and this is book 4 in the Freddie and Grace mystery series. I will just read the back of this one. It says, Freddie and Grace storm a Scottish castle. A haunted castle, a mysterious murder, and an unexpected inheritance teeming with secrets. This sounds like the perfect mystery for our delightful duo of amateur sleuths, Lord and Lady Astley. When Frederick surprises his wife with a trip back home to America to see her family, he never expected them to be thrust into a murder mystery, with Grace's sister, Lilias, as the prime suspect. To add to the dilemma, a solicitor's letter arrives to inform Grace and her sister that they are needed in Scotland immediately to claim an unforeseen inheritance left by their mother. But someone else is determined to keep the sisters from reaching Scotland. When Lilias disappears, Freddie and Grace race to their destination, sure the answers will be found in a long-forgotten castle. Nothing, however, is as it seems. Even with the help of Frederick's cousin Blake, the ghosts of the past and the dangers of the present threaten not only Grace and Lilias' inheritance, but also their lives. Can the couple combine their wits and experiences to find Lilias and clear her name, keep the real murderer from striking again, and claim the inheritance too? This is such a good book. The faith content is lighter than what's in the Blue Ridge the Blue Ridge Mountains series that I talked about at the beginning. There is still some good faith content in here. Yes, this book kept my interest, and I would recommend this book to anyone who enjoys historical fiction and romance, witty banter. Freddie and Grace are like the top notch of witty banter, I feel like, and Grace is just hilarious. So if you like any of those things, I think you will love this book, and I gave it 5 stars. Next up is Night Falls on Predicament Avenue by Jamie Jo Wright. This one says, as the walls of the house at Predicament Avenue reveal their hidden truths, 2 women, generations apart, discover that fear and foreboding are no respecters of time. In 1910, Effie James is committed to doing anything to save her younger sister, who witnessed a shocking murder, leaving her mute and in danger of the killer's retribution. Effie must prove what her sister saw, but when a British gentleman arrives, he disrupts Effie's quest with his attempts to locate his wife, Isabel Addington, who was last seen at the supposed crime scene in the abandoned house at 322 Predicament Avenue. Just as Effie discovers what she seeks, she finds that the blood staining the walls will forever link her to a scandal she couldn't imagine, and to a woman whose secrets promise to curse any who would expose them. A century later, Nora Richmond grapples with social anxiety and grief as she runs her late great-aunt's bed and breakfast on Predicament Avenue. But Nora has little affection for the house and is committed only to carrying out her murdered sister's dreams until crime historian and podcaster Sebastian Blaine arrives to investigate the ghostly legacy of the house's claim to fame, the murder of Isabel Addington. When a guest is found dead, the incident is leaked to Isabel's murder, and Nora and Sebastian must work together to uncover the century-old curse that has wrapped 322 Predicament Avenue in its clutches and threatens far more than death. So this is a dual timeline book set in 1910 and present day, and I really love how Jamie did that. She always does a great job, in my opinion, of creating spooky environments, but then bringing in the reality of the Christian faith into these books to kind of fight that supernatural element. I'm someone personally who has watched some scary movies in high school with my friends. It's just kind of a fun thing during Halloween time, and I enjoyed it then, but I have since felt convicted to not do that anymore. I just find that it doesn't add anything to my faith. If anything, it just makes me scared in unnecessary ways. So with Jamie's books, I can get that little thrill of being spooked, but know that at the end of the book there isn't actually anything supernatural that was taking place, and you get a really creative explanation for everything that's going on. So I love that about her books, and know that I can expect that every time. So far, I've only read 3 of her books, I think, but so far that's what I've encountered with the 3 that I have read. One of the quotes that I wrote down that's kind of faith-oriented, just to give you an idea of how she weaves this into her stories, I'll read it. It says, "Most of us resist the surrendering to hope, and yet we surrender to fear every day, easily and without much of a fight. Today, listener, I challenge you, surrender to hope instead." So, really great faith content. Did this book keep my interest? Yes, it did. I wanted to fly through it and get to the end and figure out what was actually going on, because it seems like one thing is happening, but it was actually a whole nother that was happening. It just blew my mind. Would I recommend this to anyone who enjoys historical fiction and doesn't mind getting a little bit spooked? This is one I did not want to read right before I fell asleep at night. Like when I was in bed, I was like, I need something different right now. That's just me personally, but you might not be as much of a scaredy cat as I am. So I did give this one 4 stars, and the only reason I knocked one off was because it actually did scare me a little bit. So that's just my honest review. But I mean, that's probably her purpose. She's trying to create that atmosphere. So just throwing that out there. If you do plan on reading this, don't say I didn't warn you. The final book I have for today is The Women of Winton's by Donna Muma. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm not sure how to say it, but this one says, mid-century glam meets murder mayhem. Get swept away to the glamour of a 1950s department store where 4 women's loyalties, vanity, friendship, and detective skills are put to the test. These 4 women have much to dislike about one another, but they unanimously agreed that Mr. Winton is the best of employers and must be protected at all costs from someone bent on getting rid of him for good. When other employee deaths occur, can the women band together to solve the murders, or will their vast differences cause them to fail and be the store's ultimate undoing? So this is Christian fiction. I would say it is lighter on the faith content. There wasn't a whole lot of it, but it was a clean book. Did it keep my interest? Kind of, but I also went from reading the Predicament Avenue book to reading this one, and they're just 2 totally different paces and styles of books, and I think that's maybe what I was struggling with. I don't know if it actually was the writing style or the book's fault in any way. I think it might have just been from what I was reading previously to this, which is so different. Who would I recommend this to? I would say anyone who enjoys a good cozy mystery, and if you're interested in the 1950s time, that's what drew me to this book at first, because you don't see a whole lot of books set in that time. I ended up giving this one 3.5, rounded up to 4 stars. There really wasn't anything wrong with this book. Like I said, it just didn't keep my interest as well as the other books I had read this month. So totally probably a personal thing, but that is my thoughts on it. Those were all the books I've read so far in October. I might end up posting another little mini wrap up when October is officially over, because today is the 21st. So I'll probably at least get a couple more books in before the end of the month, but I do plan on posting my November TBR next. So if you haven't subscribed yet and you want to check out that video, I recommend subscribing so you don't miss out on that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.